Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Not Your Average Josh back here for another movie review. The widely heard about movie Cocaine Bear, directed by Elizabeth Banks. But before I get into my movie review, I do want to say, hit that like button, hit that comment button. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That is very much appreciated. You can follow me on TikTok, you can add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this. But for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh. But let's get into the movie review of Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Bear was written by Jimmy Warden, and if you do not know, it is about an oddball group of cops, criminals, tourists, and teens who converge on a Georgia forest where a huge black bear goes on a murderous rampage after unintentionally ingesting cocaine, based on a true story. I did first hear about this story a few years ago, the true story that happened in the 80s, and I honestly didn't know much about the details of it. I just had heard about the story of a bear eating cocaine after cocaine falling from a plane. It seemed very interesting, the story at the time, and the fact that they made a movie out of it was not very surprising. And upon seeing the trailer, I was immediately very intrigued, to say the least. Just the title alone, of course, Cocaine Bear is going to obviously pull a certain amount of people just to the theaters out of pure interest. This movie definitely delivered, I think, on what I was expecting for the most part. I will say overall, I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. It is very forgettable for me personally. Like, there's certain characters, I remember them being in the movie, but I didn't really remember really much of what their characters said or did, to be honest. I just knew they were a part of the plot in a way. But this movie really is very much about the gimmick, if you want to call it that, of, you know, this bear eating cocaine and all this sequence of events that ensue because of this. There, of course, is a lot of fun violence to be had in this movie, although I do believe there could have been more violence in the movie, actually, with it being rated R. I do think they could have gone a little bit further. As you watch it, you're going to notice that the bear is CGI, so, you know, that part of it did in moments take me out, but with this being such a ridiculously fun movie, it's not a big deal or anything, or even a deal at all, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Of course, with the nature of what this bear has to do in this movie, you need the bear to be CGI, but there were times where it was pretty noticeable. And so when the bear doesn't quite have that same amount of violence that you might expect in this movie, I was a little bit disappointed, I guess, in that. This is just a very fun movie. All the actors that are in this movie seem to be having a very good time with this. I thought this was actually very well directed by Elizabeth Banks. The idea, the gimmick, as I said, it never really wears off, I will say, but there's never really a moment in the movie where I was too overly surprised what was going on. You kind of expected the way things were going to go. There were a lot of comedic moments in this movie as well. The kid actors, Christian Convery as Henry, Brooklyn Prince as Dee Dee, were very good in this movie. They had several funny lines. They were definitely more of the comedic roles in this movie. Isaiah Whitlock Jr. as Bob. I've seen him in a few other things, but he was really funny in this as well. Of course, it was great to see Ray Liotta in what seems to be maybe potentially his final role that ever actually gets to be on the big screen. He was really good in this as the drug dealer, one of the person who is responsible for going to get the cocaine, because he's going to be in a lot of trouble if he doesn't get it. And he is working alongside O'Shea Jackson Jr. as David, working directly under Ray Liotta's character Sid, and they're both working to try to get this cocaine back, along with Alden Ehrenreich as well, who I thought was really good in this. Really, their trio, the time that they were all three on the screen together, had really good chemistry, I thought. It was just really nice. It felt like Ray Liotta was also having a good time with this movie, so that was also very heartwarming to see. This movie is just exactly what it's supposed to be. There's not a lot of memorable moments, I would say, for me in particular, but the movie just does exactly what it's supposed to be. It's just supposed to be a fun movie about a bear eating cocaine, going on rampages, and of course, everyone's probably going to be talking about, for the most part, the ambulance scene, which I thought was really fun as well. That was definitely the most exhilaration I got in this movie. Yeah, paramedics coming to the house, the bear coming out of the bathroom, and then them having to run away, getting in the ambulance. It was just a great sequence that I think is going to be definitely the most memorable moment for me. It was also great to see Christopher Hivju as Olaf. I believe that's how you say his name. He was in, of course, Game of Thrones, which I really love that series. This is probably the first thing I remember seeing him outside of that world. With Hannah Hoekstra as Elsa, they were a couple that is just going hiking and happens to get attacked by the bear, and so they're really just more of very small part in this movie, but it was just really nice to see them in this. Overall, I think the casting was just very well done here. Elizabeth Banks knew exactly what this movie was supposed to be, what she wanted it to be, and I think that is the biggest compliment I could give this movie. It knows what it is, and it executes what it intends to execute. I did have my certain disappointments with, I think they could have gone a little bit heavier with the violence. I felt like it could have been a little more memorable just overall. I think that it didn't quite hit me the way it hit my friend. He seemed to really enjoy it a little bit more. I liked it, but I wasn't in love with it. I just thought I could have been more invested overall. But again, this is one of those movies that you're just looking to have a good time in the theater, and that is exactly what I had. So no complaints there with this. But that is my main thoughts. I'm going to give Cocaine Bear a 7.5 out of 10. Really fun time at the movie theaters. This could have been a movie that was very bad if directed poorly or vision was not executed the way that the director wanted it to be. Unfortunately, it was, and I did have a really good time with this. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you've seen this movie, leave a comment below. Did you hate this movie? Did you love it? Or are you more in the middle like me? Leave a like. If it's your first time watching any of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That's very much appreciated. You can follow me on TikTok. You can add me on Snapchat where I'll post content similar to this. But for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel. Not Your Average Josh. Be looking for more videos very soon, and I'll talk to you guys later.